So I think Senate Joint Memorial 101, it gets the problem exactly right, in my opinion. But it gets the solution wrong. I've heard a saying that it's long on, there's a saying out there, long on diagnosis and short on cure. We get the problem exactly right, but the solution here, I think, is wrong, because the way I read it is that Senate Joint Memorial 101, yes, it's not a bill, yes, it just sends a message, but the message it sends is we want less security and more amnesty. I think that's what it leads to. The fact that there was no public testimony on this is concerning to me. And I think it is contrary to what we've already heard. I think this is about two things. It's about amnesty and security. The first mistake this memorial makes is to insinuate without any basis that the federal government has an obligation to provide foreign replacement wage labor for Idaho industries in Idaho via an amnesty program, where people can come here illegally, or if they're already here illegally, according to SJM 101, they simply have to pay an appropriate fee, that's the exact language in the bill, and then boom, they can stay. If that's not amnesty, I'm not sure what is. I think this, if carried to its conclusion, if we take this language, we send this message to DC, they take this and run with it and use this as cover, I think this invites invasion. This displaces American workers, and it deflates wages up and down several industries. Having read this several times, I don't believe this is about guest workers. This is about importing a replacement workforce, which is a massive security breach that only exacerbates the current crisis at the border. Could you imagine when this message gets out that Idaho wants more workers? All you have to do is pay an appropriate fee and you get to stay. Because the problem with these temporary visa programs, as people who have studied this significantly, is that they aren't temporary. Foreign laborers come to the U.S. and stay. 68% of people who are currently here illegally are here because they've overstayed their visas. Think about that. 68% of people currently here illegally are here because they've overstayed their visas. The bottom line is that if we pass this and we kick this up to D.C., it does send a message. Senator from 27 is correct. It does send a message. It's not a bill. It's not law. But the message it sends is one that deeply troubles me, because that message says Idaho supports amnesty in a time of crisis. And all this will do is incentivize further waves of migrants at the border, when instead Congress should be focused on reducing the flow of illegal entry of persons and fentanyl. Like I said, it gets the problem right, it gets the solution wrong, because guest worker reform isn't going to fix this. You know, we heard mention of the dairy industry here. They want year-round, low-cost foreign laborers. That's not a guest worker. Like I said, that's called importing a workforce. And I think at the end of the day, it's a failure to enforce the literal sovereign integrity of our nation. This isn't conservative. This isn't good for Idaho. It's not an Idaho solution for an Idaho problem. And with that, I'm strongly against this bill, this memorial, excuse me. Mr. President, to debate the memorial a second time. Thank you, Mr. President. So I could be wrong, and I might have missed it, but I have not got one email from an Idaho citizen in support of this, not one. And like I said, we get a lot of emails. I might have missed it. That's very telling to me, that if this idea came from Idaho citizens, I would think that I would have a whole inbox flooded with emails from Idaho citizens, but I have not got one. And like I said, could be wrong. We get a lot of emails. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think I'm wrong there. So that's very telling to me. And like I said earlier, I love to echo the senator from District 7. I love the first few parts of this memorial. When I was reading it, I said, we need to do this. This is good. This is good. This is good. But then we got to the solution. And again, I don't want to reiterate that point, but that's where I think this fails. Because if we were serious about reforming immigration, I think this memorial would say something about reforming birthright citizenship. It says nothing. It says nothing about people who come here, their spouses, their families, the kids who, when someone comes here and has a child, someone's here illegally and they have a child, guess who gets to pay for that? Guess who gets to feed those families, who gets to clothe them, who pays for their housing, health care, food? We do. Taxpayers do. Idaho taxpayers in this case. And I know I'm not the only one in this body, I think I should know a little bit about that because I grew up in a state on the West Coast that's overrun with this. It's overrun. Hospitals are overrun. Every service you could think of is overrun. Welfare is overrun. Schools are overrun. Homelessness is on the rise. And the sad part is it's the people who come here who are suffering from it. So I would ask everybody here to think about this. We always talk about having an Idaho solution to an Idaho problem. This memorial gets the Idaho problem completely correct. But what this memorial is, it's a California solution to an Idaho problem. And as someone who's a California transplant in the Idaho Senate, I think I should know that better than anyone. Thank you.